You need a guy like Zohran. We're going to talk, obviously, about Mamdani.
We're going to begin with
Mamdani closing in Cuomo's lead in New York City mayor's race, says new mayor's poll. However, the poll also shows, like, I think the poll also shows there is a big gap still. It's a little concerning. It makes me a little worried, but it's good to maintain revolutionary optimism in this circumstance. Let's take a look.
with the race for New York City mayor, and Zohran Mamdani is closing the gap with former Governor Andrew Cuomo for the top spot 6 days before the primary. Mamdani is now within 11 points of Cuomo in a new mayor's poll, but with
That's the first round. That's the first round without ranked choice
voting and no one with the majority of votes, the race becomes a lot more complicated. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett is live in Lower Manhattan with our lead story tonight. NJ.
Right, Liz, outside a polling place here on Greenwich Street in Lower Manhattan. You know, more than 130,000 people have voted in the election so far citywide. And as you know, Andrew Cuomo has been the front runner from the moment he entered the race. But as you said, his numbers are flat, and Mamdani has cut his lead in half.
The poll predicts that Andrew Cuomo will win, but he'll have to hold off a surging Zohran Mamdani.
We continue to be within 10 points. We continue to be on the verge of a single-digit race.
The 33-year-old socialist assemblyman from Queens is closing the gap. In a poll of likely Democratic primary voters, none of the candidates has the 50% needed to win outright. Andrew Cuomo is first with 38%, followed by Mamdani with 27%, and Comptroller Brad Lander and Council Speaker Adrian Adams, each with 7%. 11% are undecided. The poll predicts that Cuomo beats Mamdani in the 7th round, 55% to 45%. Lee Miringoff conducted the poll for the Marist Institute.
Cuomo is in front, but it's not a solid, locked-in kind of number for him.
Voters were also asked whether the city's next mayor should oppose President Trump. 72% said yes, 26% preferred compromising with the administration. All of the Democratic candidates are vowing to push back. Lander with his arrest.
What New York City needs right now is a mayor, is a leader who will stand up and protect New Yorkers.
Cuomo with his TV ads.
Trump's coming for New York. Who do you think can...
I got hopium for you. Polls were wrong about Eric Adams' win by 9.5%. Turnout is nearly double from last year's with early voting numbers. The polls conducted aren't contacting Muslim voters over 45, who he's been doing hella outreach with. Most important, we need more people to knock on doors for get out the vote. Absolutely. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, baby. If Mamdani doesn't win, I'm not sure the American public can be saved because you can't run a race better than him. I'm going to be honest with you. Even if he wins, I don't know if the American public can be saved, but at least he's a beacon of hope. A really necessary hope. Like, allow me to put my lib cap on for a brief moment and say that even if you are a liberal right now and you're scared of socialism, scared of like the scary brown guy, you can't deny that he is exactly the momentum that the Democratic Party needs. A real fighter who is young, who is charismatic, who is going to actually routinely make a big fuss about Donald Trump. He's going to do right by his constituents. He's not going to be beholden to corporate interests. This is exactly the type of guy you need. It doesn't always have to be a white dude, okay? I know many liberals are so used to voting for the same names that they've seen over and over again, and they think that spells stability, and stability is what we need right now. But Zohran Mamdani is exactly the type of candidate that represents broad, popular ideas that you all want implemented. And while he's young, okay, his lack of experience means that he is less corrupted by the very same forces that cause you to vote for these old douchebags who don't do anything for you and have calcified their support in their real corporate benefactors who only defend their real constituents, not you, not the average voter, but instead the real estate lobby and all these other special interest groups, whether it be DoorDash or numerous other expensive campaign contributors. Okay, every single aspect of New York City existence that has devolved in the last 2 decades is directly a consequence of Andrew Cuomo's leadership when he was the governor. Okay. And now, in an effort to continue that reign of corporate interest, people like Michael Bloomberg are pouring in millions of dollars into the race. Michael Bloomberg personally has dumped $8.5 million. Andrew Cuomo gets support from a lot of these pig unions, or at least the union leadership, but the rank and file is not with Andrew Cuomo, because the rank and file understands that Andrew Cuomo is also anti-union. He has already destroyed New York politics and made New York Republicans significantly more powerful in the state so that he could maintain his grip of power. He is exactly the kind of corrupt that has ruined the lives of regular New Yorkers. He is everything that's wrong with New York politics. He's everything that's wrong with the Democratic Party. His attitude is precisely the reason why you have tremendous resentment right now at this very moment towards the feckless ineptitude that you see from the Democrats. You need a guy like Zohran. You need a guy like Zohran. You need a fighter. And my God, are they doing everything they can now in the last round, because he's become a real threat to the established order and the comfortable corruption that they want in business as usual politics, that they're trying to rat him as aggressively as possible. I've heard some good opinions about the polls. Poll is a week old. Tough poll from Mamdani, ending with a 55-45, the latest Marist poll that came out 2 days ago. Poll is a week old. These races tend to have a lot of late movement, including 2021, and the week since it fielded has been action-packed. 2021 final Marist poll had Adams by +12, and he won barely by 1%. Cuomo and Mamdani are tied 32-32 among the most active voters. In other words, those who voted in the Democratic primaries for 2020 president, 2021 mayor, and 2022 governor. The diehards, the ones that will walk through fire to vote, are split evenly. Relative comparable days in 2021, Brooklyn is punching above its weight in in-person voting, and the Bronx is punching below its weight. That means Cuomo will likely need a surge of primary day turnout in the Bronx for a white candidate in 100-degree weather. The Lander-Mamdani cross endorsement was a boon for Mamdani when it happened, but it may have just become much more valuable after Lander was arrested by ICE yesterday. Maybe Lander picks up some steam and helps Mamdani leapfrog Cuomo on some ballots down the stretch. Mamdani gains among Latino voters are encouraging. We'll see if that can translate into decent turnout in Latino neighborhoods, given there's no major Latino candidate in the race. I'm going to hand it over to my guy, Jake. Jake Rubenstein says, this to me is the most important table in the entire poll. Literally 1/5 of the electorate doesn't express a preference around the top two. This race very much has the potential to go either way. There's also tremendous youth voter turnout, and I highly doubt that the youth are turning out to vote for Andrew Cuomo. As of the 4th day of early voting in 2025 Democratic primary for New York City mayor, the 25 to 34-year-olds have cast the most early ballots. These 4 assembly districts have 90% of Brooklyn's population, but are making up 44% of the early voting total so far in the first 4 days. The labor unions in New York are such pussies. No, it's always the leadership. The rank and file are not. It's the leadership. I don't think anyone really cares about policy at all anymore, but if you just ask them in an opinion poll why they prefer a candidate, they'll just make up some policy-based answer. I would do the same. Zohran is young, energetic, and running against an institutional rot in human form. I think that also plays a big role. That's why I said when I put my liberal hat on for a moment, this is my assessment as well. You can make up policy promises to signal anti-establishment vibes, but this dude isn't winning because there's some wild shift in the electorate since they swung the other way for Trump 9 months ago. Is that a certain part of the population now votes anti-establishment every time. Yeah. But he does happen to be a real anti-establishment choice in the right direction. Spoke to some New Yorkers today who unfortunately like Zohran and his policies, but see them as too good to be true almost, even without any real justification for why, and therefore view Lander as a safer choice with similar policies. What would you say to such voters? If every politician is going to say that they're going to give you 100% and basically at minimum give you 50%, why wouldn't you want someone like Zohran who promises 100% and will give you 50%, rather than Lander, who promises you 75% and will give you 25%. Also, Lander can't win. The safe choices is precisely how we got to the modern Democratic Party. Okay? That's it.